Hi guys, Hex to Hex. Welcome back to Barbarossa, Kiev to Rostov. So we knocked out a couple turns this time, and we are into the start of September 6th and 7th. So we're getting ready to start the 39th game turn. Okay, change of pace. All right, the south is still really nothing. Rail line's starting to move forward over here. So it got up to where it could touch that road. So now this supply net is, you see it's extended a little farther. So those guys right there, they'll come out of supply at the start of this turn. Most of these units will go back into supply, but this guy, he's staying at that crossing right there. They're not going to give that up. Matter of fact, he'll probably move back across just to hold that bridge there. So really nothing going on down here. The defenses are set up here. The Soviets actually have I'm going to try to pull some troops out and move to the north because this has become a nightmare. So I finally made the decision to retract the Soviet line, let's say. But I get, God, this part of this is tougher than I is expected. And I've only started the first turn of doing it because of the way, well, plus it was a mud turn, and the way the Soviet movement is with motorized and then your normal, and then in mud, of course, that reduces everything. The only thing that seemed to move successfully is railroad, but you only got 12 stacking points of that you can use, and I can't afford to use them to evacuate because I need to bring supplies in or troops in up here. So I was talking about how I didn't really think that the troops coming in from the north were very much for the Germans. But I'm going to tell you something. These 3 or 4 little groups right in here, I brought that SS unit in, cost me 3 victory points. I'm going to lose them on, I think it's like game turn 43 or 46 or something because they got to go back to Army Group Center. But they took out about, 10 units in their combats, I'd say. Yeah, about 10 units. Granted, there were smaller units, but look at the gaping hole now that's up here. And now this turn it's dry, and the Germans are going to be going first. So I'm getting the picture now how this gap probably got closed in 1941. So what I've decided to do was, well, you know what? We need to try to get the Soviet forces up here along the Dnieper, whatever we can. Get them out of here. Try to start getting back before this collapses up here. Now, I don't know if the Germans get anything else up here or not, but those 4 stacks of units right there are probably strong enough if they don't take a beating to deal with most things the Soviets, because right now the Soviets are going to throw piecemeal stuff at them. You can see all the little individual stacks. I'm trying to throw fortifications, strong points in up there. Whatever I get next turn, I'll try to throw some more in. But right now, the optimal plan is to pull in along the river there, the Seine or whatever, and then down through the Grun, and down here to Kremenchut or whatever that is, to see if we can't pull back to there and maybe try to hold there. So fortunately for the Soviet Union, the Germans don't get a whole boatload of rail conversion points, and that's one of the tough features also of this game. And they have destroyed most of the bridges up here. And if you look at the map, remember your tracks don't count. The rail lines, the main roads on these 4 maps here, because there are no motorways, those are your supply routes. And if you look up here, there are no main roads up here, except for right there. That'd be cool if the Germans get a railhead going to that town right there eventually. But in the middle of this map, dude, there's nothing. There's nothing here. Now, it's great for the Soviets because, the railheads are intact for them, or the rail lines are intact for them. And there's rail lines everywhere, but you can reach one pretty much everywhere. One of the dilemmas is, all right, so right here, this German unit, his zone of control is cutting off that road. Fortunately, most of these guys, and this German unit's cutting off that one. But fortunately, most of these guys, they can reach these rail lines right here. And right now, they're okay. But then I got to looking, and over here, I guess I was kind of smart somewhat. These two German panzer divisions have hit that rail line right there, and they've cut this stuff off. So I've got to, this supply phase coming up, I've got to do a reassessment, because right now, Soviet supply has got to be traced with this road up that rail line, and then the same thing over here is up this rail line, which is cool, but that's liable to get cut off here on this next turn with the Germans up here. This is going to get extremely, extremely interesting. I thought, you know, I said that the fun was about to start when those units from Army Group Center came down, and it is. So, slow extraction of the Soviets. I don't know how they're going to get out of here, because the Germans are far more mobile, and the Soviet armored units, there might be two, if they're stacked with a couple other units that can stand up to these German armored divisions, or these German motorized divisions. So you've got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 pushing down from the north, all right? And then you've got, we'll say 3.5. If I can get this other one over here, there'll be 4 divisions pushing up from the south. They're going to close that pocket one way or another, because all the Russians can do, well, I mean, they've got a few units here where they could throw something in to slow this down. And they actually did. The attack on the right there, it was successful and destroyed, a train and something else. And this one on the left destroyed a train, but they didn't take that town. If they'd have took that railroad intersection right there, that could have been catastrophe for the Soviets. So, and if they get that one up there in that X, it's going to be even worse. All right, so Kenneth had recommended or said to me in one of his comments on the stream about go ahead and moving these troops out, these panzers out, and putting them in the out of supply status, and just keeping them going to cut these Russians off to catch them in this pocket. Great call, Kenneth. You know, that seems like what it's going to have to be. The surrender rolls, the Soviets only have this one unit I keep rolling for surrender on. I think he's rolled for 5 turns now, and I thought he surrendered. I thought I had him on a surrender last time, but then there was a headquarters that was within 4 hexes of him, an operational headquarters, and that added one to the die roll, so he didn't surrender. I mean, you got to roll 3 or less to surrender. So, and you have to be adjacent to a German unit. I think it has to be a combat unit, and be out of supply, and then you roll for surrender. So, all right, so. You know, like I said, we lost Kiev. I'm starting to pull. I'm going to leave token forces back just to slow the Germans down, because there's no motorized overrun stuff back in here. They got across the river there by the use of that other bridge they got from 2nd Army or whatever. I think that's what it said. And they're going to give up that corner there. Those guys are a little slow pulling out, but they might be able to get out. It's this stuff over here. The question is on the next turn, if this is still available. Okay, well, I'll put it this way. From this rail line here to here, looks like it would probably survive the next round. So if I could rail units out this way. But you can see over here, this railroad takes a turn and goes straight south. There's a couple there. So we'll have to see. And like I said, they only get 12 points. So if you pull 3 big infantry units out, that's it. There's your 12 points. Well, my God, there's 25, 30 units over here that I need to extract. They're okay, like I say, at Kremenchuk. They're holding up right there. I should pull the units away and actually read the name of that town. But that's the point during 1941 where the Germans actually broke through and started driving north. I chose to go through Cherkasy, which you'll notice, Cherkasy, the road bridge is completely built back. But I noticed right here on this road bridge, that's not a major main road right there. So it literally, the supply net stops right there. I got to get this rail line open. And I've started to retrace my steps with this rail marker here, going backwards. So don't think I'm going to do anything there unless just by events going on over here, these guys are forced to pull out. And I don't see anything exciting happening on the southern bend here, the pocket of the Dnieper, or down here to the south yet. Eventually, that Crimea garrison's going to get released, and there's a good 6-7 units in there. So, all right, so there you go. That's what's going on. Like I say, we're getting ready to start the September 6th and 7th, turn 39, and the German breakout's happening. So let's get this thing up so y'all can see what's going on. This is going to start getting exciting for me. So I've had this game on the table now, what, week and a half, couple weeks, big game, and I'm not in the lightest bit bored with it. I'm having a blast with this game, and I spend a lot of time just looking and thinking. A little hard to play during the work week. I try to at least play a half a turn when I come home at night if I can, and then the next night get the other half in. Excuse me. And what I can do on the weekends, sometimes it's hard to stare at these things, but when I do look at it, I'm thinking and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And to watch how things are developing it's awesome. And I think that the fact that the movement sequences are different for each side, and it really shows you what either your limitations are or what your advantages are for each side. And it makes the game fun because you really got to think about, geez, man, I mean, Soviet motorized movement, not like I'm going to attack anything, and you have to clear your attacks during the motorized movement phase. So you got to hope your infantry, unless you do, you can do activations, but you better hope you've got infantry that are sitting on your targets, adjacent to your targets already, if you want to get anything major going on. So, and then like I say, if you're going to start playing this thing, if you're putting out one of your smaller ones, the supply rules are easy. They really are. Read the replacement rules. I think those are probably the only set of rules in this thing that aren't there. How do I say it? They didn't exactly write them in understandable English. I mean, I get it. I think I've got about 90% of it covered, but I think with that little 10% that I'm not understanding is I'm probably missing out on some things. So, but I'm doing the best I can with it. If anybody masters that replacement system on when you do things, let me know, please. Tell me how to do it precisely. Maybe I'm lucky. Maybe I am doing it right. But like I say, if you've mastered this, I'd sure like to see a write-up on that. All right, let's get this thing up so y'all can see what's happened the last 2 or 3 turns. And we're going to keep driving. We're going to get to Rostov with the Germans, or we're going to stop them in their tracks as the Soviet Union. All right, we'll talk to y'all shortly.